Hello again. It's me, Say, but you can call me Say. Welcome back for another video. So today I'm going to be talking about something a little sensitive, but I really feel like I need to talk about it. I'm an ex-Mormon, okay? I was a Mormon for about a decade. I became a Mormon when I was 24 years old after I'd lived a lot of life and had a lot of experiences. And I was pretty much immersed into the Mormon culture in my mid-20s. I tried to live as faithfully as I could. I married, I had a child, and yet being a member of the church just made me so unhappy. At first it didn't. I'm going to admit, when I first became a member of the church, I was in a really, really bad, low place in my life. And I was really searching for any way to start over. So I was very vulnerable. And I was kind of a perfect target. But at the same time, I was praying for a way to start over. So maybe it was meant to be how it happened. I was meant to be a member. But anyways, I was baptized in 2012. And I decided I didn't want to be a member of the church anymore in 2022. 2022. So literally a decade. By the time I had decided that being a member of the church really just didn't fit me anymore, I was already in a place where I had so many questions about the church because I was in school at the time. I was going for my science degree, and I was taking different science courses, and I was learning about energy. And learning about energy and the way that it works, it just completely opened up my mind and made me look at things differently about how things work. And I started to question myself, is this church really true? If I stop tithing, is Heavenly Father really going to take away all of my means because I'm not giving to the church anymore? Am I really not going to be able to get to the highest kingdom in heaven because I'm no longer worthy for the temple? No. And being a member of the church, not having served a mission, not being baptized early on in my life, having lived life, having already had sex, drank, done drugs, partied, lived, done everything, I was already kind of tainted even though I was a convert. Then getting married, I was in a mixed race marriage, which I found out wasn't looked at too good because the church had a history with racism, which I didn't know. They didn't teach me that when I was converting because I definitely would not have joined. Are you kidding me? No. And then getting divorced and being a single mother, it was a lot of trauma. And being a member of the church is pretty much an abusive relationship. And it's like that because the founder was a narcissist. Joseph Smith, if you go look at Joseph Smith, his real life, he was a narcissist. There's no denying that he was a narcissist, okay? So when I found out that the history of the church was a lie, it was more of I knew it! I knew it! But it hurt at the same time because it's like, the way I can compare it is you think somebody might be cheating on you. You think somebody's stepping on you. They're being unfaithful. They're lying to you, whatever it is. But you still have that thought in your mind well, maybe they're not. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm going crazy and I'm thinking of all these things because I'm insecure or whatever. And then you find out, no, they were cheating on you the whole time. It's I knew it! But it hurts. It hurts. That's how it felt, okay? Because being a member of the church, it completely changed my life around. I completely changed my life because of the beliefs, because of how I was supposed to live, righteous and my role as a woman and in a family and just everything, okay? Completely changed my life for the religion. So yeah, of course it hurts, but I could not imagine how much it hurt for somebody who was a member their whole entire life, who grew up in this religion and their whole life was based around it, feeling all of the trauma, everything that you're put through as a member, and then finding out it was all a lie. Everything was a complete lie. The Book of Mormon's not real. The history of Joseph Smith is not real. The history of the church is not real. The first vision is not actually the first vision. Like, there's just so many different things. I could only imagine how much it hurts to find out that your whole life is based on a lie. And from what I can see, because, you know, I watched a lot of Mormon story podcasts. That's really, it helped me to, one, piece together everything that I was learning and like, this doesn't seem right because of this, and this. Everything I was learning, it kind of validated it, and I learned so much about the actual history and where to find the proof and the CES letter and all these different things I had no idea about. And watching those stories, there's so many people that have been burnt by this church. And because they were burnt so badly, they completely turned away from anything having to do with faith, anything having to do with God, Jesus, all of that. And you think about it, if you're in an abusive relationship with somebody and you finally get away from them, you want nothing to do with them. You want nothing to do with anybody having to do with them, nothing within their vicinity, anything that they like, nothing. You just want nothing to do with them. So no wonder people turn away from the church and turn away from any sort of faith. I'm here to tell you, as an ex-convert myself, just because the church isn't true and it's burned you and you feel hurt by it, doesn't mean you should turn away from your faith. It doesn't mean you shouldn't believe in God, in one source. You shouldn't believe in Jesus Christ because it's real. Now, everything that I've learned, I have come to know God as source. We all come from one source because energy, the basic law of energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be stored, transferred, or transmuted, changed into something else. So we're all made of energy because we're all made of atoms. Atoms vibrate where they're at, and it creates a frequency. And we all have a frequency. We're all energy. So if energy can't be created nor destroyed, it can only be conserved, transferred, or transmuted. You gotta think, we all come from one source. And to me, that explanation is the Big Bang Theory. Like, we can get into it in another video, okay? Because I totally think science points to God. Like, boop, boop, there it is. So I'll make another video about that. But we all come from one source. And whether you know it as God, universe, source, spirit, whatever it is, it's all the same thing. And I went on a mission pretty much to figure out what's true, what's not. Because, like I said, I had lived 24 years of life before I became a member. So, looking back, I had a lot of experiences with spirit in my own life way before that I didn't even realize. And I feel so in tune and so much more in touch with spirit now. So going on this journey to figure out what's true, what's not, I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ has to be real because his teachings are all over the world. You can find them everywhere. Now, they might not be labeled as Jesus Christ teachings, but they are all around the world. All around the world, you can find Jesus. Now, one of the sources that really, really surprised me was a hypnotherapist named Dolores Cannon. And she was a phenomenal woman, like very smart. And she pretty much pioneered past life regression therapy, which you can go look it up. It's so interesting. But so many of the things that she discovered and she wrote books about and was teaching people, like hearing it, it just clicked because I was already having certain thoughts and epiphanies myself because of everything that I learned. So she has this book, Jesus and the Essenes, that she wrote. Pretty much she took somebody back so far into their past lives that she took them back to a lifetime where they actually knew Jesus. And she learned so much about his life and who he was and what his purpose was here. So I believe in Jesus. And I believe his teachings of unconditional love and forgiveness are so important. And if we do not live by them, then we're really selling ourselves short in this life that we're living. Okay, so a little side note before I go on, because I feel like I kind of need to put this in there in order for you to really understand where I'm coming from. So, the Bible, okay? I'm not talking about the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon was fake. I'm talking about the Bible, okay? Now, being a member of the church, I was always told that the King James Version was the oldest version that there is. The most accurate, the most whatever. And that's not true. The King James Version was actually not the first English version of the Bible. The Bible was translated into English several times before that. And before it was translated into English, normal people were not even allowed to have books. They weren't allowed to own them, much less the Bible. The Catholic Church is the one that had control of the Bible. They're the only ones, like, if you heard the Bible, you were hearing it translated. It was in a few different languages originally. But whatever language, I think it might have been Latin, they were translating it from, you heard and learned whatever they were telling you. But when it came down to it, they were giving up control when they were allowing the book to be translated into English. So one of the best ways that human beings think to control something else is by fear. So the Bible teaches out of fear. You can look all throughout the Bible. The Bible teaches out of fear. But that's not what Jesus taught. Jesus taught unconditional love, forgiveness, hope, faith. There was not fear. It's saying do not fear because you have Jesus. You have the Lord. You have God on your side. So the whole teaching about Jesus, to be scared of the second coming and you have to live your life a certain way or else you won't be redeemed before the second coming, like, it's all rooted in fear. And Dolores Cannon, this person that she took back into their past life where they knew Jesus, it made so much more sense that Jesus was sent here to teach us how to get off of the wheel of karma, how to stop repeating the same cycles again. You make bad choices, you have bad consequences. You make good choices, you have good consequences. It's kind of a simple concept to think about. That's what he was here to teach. And how do you do that? By loving unconditionally and forgiving. Now, it kind of sounds hard, the forgiving part, because at first, I'm like, well, how do I forgive? If I just say I forgive and I still feel it, it's not that simple. In order for me to get to a place to actually forgive everybody in my life that did something to me, I had to truly understand how the universe works, how the world works. And after all the research that I've done, I believe that the earth is a big, huge school. We're all here to learn. We all come to learn lessons. And if we don't learn the lessons in this life, guess what? We got to come back into another life and do the lessons again. But it's not like, oh, you did something wrong? You're a sinner and you're going to hell, the fiery pits, and you're burning for eternity. No. That's fear. God, source, spirit, Jesus Christ didn't teach about fear. They taught about love, forgiveness. So all of this fear mumbo jumbo, that's all the agenda of the Catholic Church, like way back in medieval times. So I don't believe that Jesus came here to save us in a sense that all of our sins are forgiven, because there's really not a such thing as sin. We make a wrong choice in this life. It's more like a, dang, you didn't learn your lesson? Well, you know you got to do it again, right? Source loves us unconditionally. We're all connected. We are all connected to the same source. Source knows us, loves us unconditionally. You think about a good parent, okay? A good parent, okay? Good parent. A good parent loves their child, only wants the best for them, would never do anything to hurt them. Like, remember stuff about them, can tell if something's going wrong with them just by looking at them. Like, you know, the good ones. That's source. Why would source want to punish us for making bad choices? I mean, yeah, there's consequences. You got to learn. But that doesn't mean that source doesn't love you. That doesn't mean that you're any less of a person because you're going through this life. Like, okay, yes, I'm going to say it. Even murderers, okay? Even murderers. Source loves them too, no matter what. And it's a bad choice that they made in their life, and they have bad consequences in this life because of that. And if they don't correct it, they're going to have to do it in the next life when they come, and it's going to be a challenge. So I believe that even for my own life, I can look at choices that I made. Oh, there was a bad consequence for that. Really bad consequence. But throughout my entire life, even through the bad choices, I was always protected. Source was always there. Always. And even when I felt alone, I was never alone. And really, the teachings of Jesus Christ was like the only thing that got me through the relationship with my ex-husband and separating from him and all the crazy stuff that came along with that. So I'm here to let you know. You should do some research. You should do some searching, because the whole point of the church way back when was to make sure that you lived in fear. We all live in fear, so that way they could control us and we can still live how the church wanted us to live. That's not how Source, God, Jesus, that's not how they taught. And that's not how we should live. And living in fear, especially, I'm going to point this, especially being a member of the Mormon church. The Mormon church pretty much teaches you can't trust yourself. You can't trust your intuition. You can't trust that small voice that you hear first, that gut feeling. Teaches you can't trust that you need to always turn to the church. The church will tell you if you're worthy. The church will tell you if you've repented enough. The church. Turn to the church for everything. Go tell the bishop this. Go tell the bishop that. The church. We should be listening to ourselves. We should be loving ourselves. We should be in tune with ourselves. And being in tune with ourselves, we're in tune with spirit. Why? Because we're all from the same source. We're all connected. We're all one. So it is so important for not just ex-Mormons, but anybody who has been burnt by toxic religion and taught you should not trust yourself, and had the gospel, had God forced down your throat telling you weren't good enough, you weren't worthy, you needed to do more, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't true. And the whole point of that was to make you turn away from yourself, to make you mistrust yourself, to keep you in darkness, to keep you in fear. And that's not how Source wants us to live, okay? It's so important for us to know ourselves, be in tune with ourselves. What do we like? What do we not like? It's important for us to treat people kindly. And if we love ourselves and in our tune with ourselves, we're happier and we're more willing to treat people kindly and to understand. And if you know how the universe works, energy, if you dive into that and start to open your mind to understand deeper meaning of things besides just church agenda shoved at you, a whole nother world opens, a whole nother understanding. And it feels so good, okay? So good. I feel so much more in tune with myself now, and I know myself now more than I ever did before I got married, before I became a member of the church, anytime in my life, anytime ever. And guess what? I have standards. I have boundaries that I will not break, where before, constantly, I did not have respect for myself. I did not have love for myself. I did not trust myself. And I'm glad I'm not there anymore, because I'm so much happier. I'm so much more comfortable in my own skin because I know myself and I love myself. And I know that I'm not a sinner. I know that if I make good choices, I'll have good consequences. If I make bad choices, I'll have bad consequences. But no matter what, I'm loved unconditionally for me, who I am. I was made this way for a reason, and so were you, baby. Don't forget that. They want you to turn away from yourself. Don't, for your own sake. Do some research, do some searching. Not just outsourcing, but insourcing. Look inside yourself, okay? It's not selfish to know yourself. It's not selfish to have boundaries. It's not selfish to have standards that you stick by. That's not selfish. The world would have you think that. The church would have you think that. The church was all about, especially women, sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. Your family comes before anything you ever. You are a mother. You're a homemaker. That's what you are. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And then when the kids are gone, what? There's so many women that are even unhappy in their young lives, being married, being mothers. Not saying that that's a bad thing. Being mother and being married, that was a big blessing in my life. I didn't think I could have kids. My baby's a big blessing. So I'm not saying anything negative or bad about that. But the way that the church makes you think, the programming that they do, is so unhealthy and is so meant to make you turn away from yourself. So that way they can control you. Not so you can control yourself, so they can control you. Which is all what they want, because the church is just a great big business. So, again, I'm here to let you know, any ex-Mormons, anybody recovering from toxic religion, Source, God, universe, spirit is real. Jesus Christ was real. His teachings are all across the world. He loves you. Source loves you. And taught about unconditional love and forgiveness. That's how we get through this life. And if you turn back to them and really search inside yourself, I promise you'll be so much happier and you will be on your way to truly healing. And that's the most important thing. We all deserve to heal from trauma. We all deserve to know ourselves. And we all deserve to love ourselves. And that's what Spirit wants. That's what Jesus Christ wanted. He didn't want us to continuously stay in this cycle. He wanted us to realize if we're constantly on a high vibration of love and forgiveness, life will be so much better. And we'll have so much to offer, so much to gain, and life just becomes truly magical. I'm so happy now. Like, if I could paint a picture of myself, I would be a bucket underneath a running faucet, and the faucet would be on, and the bucket would be full, and the water would be overflowing. That's me, baby, an overflowing bucket. That could be you too. So please, please look inside. Get to know yourself again. Get to know Source. And you will be so much happier. You deserve to heal. You deserve to be loved. And you deserve to love yourself. So, until we meet again, remember, you are worthy. You are worth it. And you're loved unconditionally, baby. Don't forget that. Till next time, bye. Mwah.